Hello? Hey guys, hello. Just want to double check if you can hear me. So if maybe anyone in the chat could just give me a thumbs up, that would be great. Okay. Yes, perfect. Great, thank you. Guys, well, yeah, to everyone who is here, thank you very much for joining this live session. It means the world to me that all of you are here. And this day is a very important day for me. It's like the opening or the closure of tons of work and a lot of dedication. The purpose for this session is to have a discussion about an introduction to sign painting and which are the best practices to get into this craft. And as well, I want to announce towards the end the launching of my first online course of sign painting is fundamentals of brush control. So yeah, I think we're going to be here maybe 30 minutes max. So yeah, I just want to let you know that I have been giving a couple of workshops in different cities, like in London, in Belfast. And usually I get a lot of questions of how is like the trajectory to get into sign painting and to become into a sign writer. So here I want to share with all of you a little bit of my experience. So I have been in the industry around since 2019. I don't have a background in graphic design or anything like that. Actually, my background is in finances. But I have a really big change of career where I started doing calligraphy and eventually I end up doing sign writing. And it has been a beautiful path. I changed the desk and the computer for brushes and ink. And this has been a beautiful experience. I have the opportunity to do signs for amazing clients, for really good projects like Titanic or big festivals like Download Festival, Latitude, and a couple of the big festivals in England. So I might say that most part of people see in social media just the beautiful moments and always me smiling. But I have to say that the path hasn't been so amazing or so beautiful and so easy. The truth is that getting into sign writing was a big decision and a big challenge. But it pays off. So for everyone that is here thinking to have a career change or that just want to get into the craft for the passion and the love for art, I can tell you that is something that really pays back. Before going continue here, I also want to let you know that you please feel free to drop any questions that you have, that I can see you in the chat, so I will answer all of them. So yeah, so the way I did it is I decided to join several workshops, and for this I have to travel around. I went to Porto. My first one was in Amsterdam. I went to a couple of events in England, and eventually I did a work experience with a sign writer from England that his name is Perry Signs London. So in a few words, it was a lot of investment of time and money. And the point is that you always start and it's like, I know, so fancy, so nice, so beautiful. And you think that you go to a workshop and now you know it. But that's not truth. Most part of the times I got and the event with an overdoses of knowledge, but I really didn't know what to do or how to proceed. I even didn't know which were the materials I needed, or yeah. So I was a little bit like, oh yes, I learned all these alphabets, but now what? Then going with Perry really helped a lot, and eventually then the business just took off. And then something that, for instance, I learned because I have the opportunity to be with many of the old school sign writers is how they learn it. And I think that we are in a really good moment of life because we have a lot of technology, but for the sign writing industry, it's kind of a disadvantage. Because back in the time, all the sign writers start to be a sign writer around at their 15 years old. So imagine, super young. And what they did is that they became an apprentice with any master. And the apprenticeship lasts about 5 years. And in these 5 years, they didn't get paid. In the first year, they didn't paint at all. It was only until the end of the first years where they were allowed to get the brush. And what they have to do was second coat the signs that any of the people of the team were painting. And in the evenings, they also have the opportunity to go to school where they have lessons about all the anatomy of letters, alphabets, compositions, all the things that you need to take into account to create a good sign. So, and then when they finish these 5 years that you think, great, they are done. No, they were not done. They were officially a sign writer or a sign writer, but they have to stay with the master for 2 years more. These 2 years were paid, but the reason why they have to stay was because kind of the master didn't want them to take over their clients, because of course in 5 years they end up working with all of the clients. So yeah, imagine. So in total 7 years to actually say that you're a sign writer. Nowadays, we don't have anything of this. We don't have we don't have apprenticeships, we don't have schools, we don't have degrees. So the truth is that you have to do a lot of your own work. You have to teach yourself. And to be honest, this is a full journey. So when people ask me which is the best way to get into sign writing, I always say that you have two options. You have two paths. Both of them, independent of which ones you take, is going to require investment of money and of time and tons of patience. Let's start for the first part, but the shortest to talk about it, and is to get a mentor, to do an apprenticeship. So that would be great. There are very few painters that are offering apprenticeships. And the reason for this is that back in the time, the government used to give a subsidy to all of the painters who had an apprentice. This because kind of the government always say, the apprentice is slowing down the master, so we compensate economically. But the government stopped doing all these kind of things. So for the masters, they were kind of not really interested to have more people. So less and less painters offer this. And for instance, the one I did, it was, as I say, with Perry, and I didn't have to pay him, but I didn't get paid from him neither. And I have to move the place, I have to pay rent, and I have to live in a completely different town where I was used to. So that will be one. Then you will have to kind of knock the door to see who will be up to take you. Or the other option is to self-learn the craft. For this, I can tell you that is really exciting, but you have to be very organized, and you need to have like a roadmap of what you need. For this, I kind of going to take you through which are the best practices to get into the craft. Then the first one will be that the first you need to develop is brush control and muscle memory. And the point is that many people jump straight on into alphabets. When you jump straight on into alphabets, you are making the mistake that you are not developing the brush control with the basic strokes. So there are basic strokes for casual and for block. And usually that's what you do. For instance, the apprentices during this year, that's what you do. Basic strokes for months. And eventually one of them click. And eventually the flick of the brushes start coming, or you start being less tense, your neck is less painful, because the truth is that when you're learning, the body kind of keep the score. So so, and additionally, you need to learn which are the materials you need. So you need to know which type of brushes you need. For this, you need sign writing brushes, which are with a chisel hair. A chisel hair is like at the end, they are like flat. And they usually come in natural hair, but you also can find them with synthetic hair. You need to know how to prepare your new brushes before working with them, how to clean them, how to treat them well. Because the truth is that sign writing brushes aren't cheap. I mean, a single brush could cost, I don't know, from £7 to 30 easily. And you never have only one, you always have several. So it's really important that you learn to take care of them in a good way. And then you also need to know like which type of paint do you need, which are the brands, how do you get the right consistency of paint, what else? And then in that point, start like developing the brush control. Many people think when they start getting into sign writing that everything is just about the brush. And that's a very big mistake. To be honest, it's about the brush and about a pencil. You need to develop your brush control, but you also need to develop your muscle memory drawing from the basic strokes to the alphabets or to the words and to creating the compositions. Because the idea is that you're able to do it by yourself without the need of a computer. Of course, I'm not going to say that you cannot use a computer, but the more skilled you are, the better. Because if you don't have to spend time in advance of a project, you can offer a better price as well. You could paint faster, you could design faster. So you can give a really competitive price to your clients. And at the same time, you can do it in a better time for yourself, right? Another thing that is important to know when you get into sign painting is like the theories of the color. How color affect the alphabets, the negative effect, and how it affects the full composition, right? I will say that this is more or less all the things you need to take into account for getting into sign writing, more or less. And I might say, for instance, that when I did my workshops, yes, I jumped straight on. They give me the brush, they give me the paint, they actually gave the consistency for me, and I just painted. But when I arrived home, I was like, oh, what serious was the brush? Where do I buy them? and then you get them new and you're like, what do you do with this? I mean, it's really silly, but many times the workshops just jump straight into the alphabets, because the truth is that it's a lot of content in very short time. So I also understand, but the point is that there you are with an overdoses of information, but not really clear what's the path that you need to take. So yeah, I will say that these are like the things you need to take into consideration. For instance, where to get some materials, I would say that in England you have Hanover, but in Europe after Brexit, I mean, Hanover used to be like the provider, but after Brexit, they are not sending any more chemicals, equal paint, to places that are out of the mainland. So in Europe, I will say that you could get your materials from Lion Art. They are based in the Netherlands, if I'm not wrong. You have Racing Color in Barcelona. I will mention those two. In the US, you have Alpha Enamels Corporation, that they are the ones who have the Alpha 6 paint. These ones are synthetic and oil-based. And I will say that, to be honest, not really sure about Australia. I think that people from Australia also get things from the US. But yeah, in terms of providers, they are quite limited. So that's also very important that you know where to get your things. For South America, I think that unfortunately, there is not a provider only from the US. And that's a kind of a disadvantage for gilding, because I have heard from some people that is getting into gilding as well, that is very challenging. Well, in all this journey, something that, Walter knows is very challenging to get the materials. So guys, another thing that you also need to take into account is that for sign painting, there are no shortcuts. So what are the type of emotions you're going to encounter? You're going to have tons of self-criticism. You're going to be very impatient. You're going to have a lot of doubts. And eventually you have the imposter syndrome, because you eventually paint a little bit, but then you also are aware of the amount of things you do not know yet. But even all those doubts, even all those perhaps not so nice emotions, eventually the things move away. The first one I can say is keep in mind, always breathe a lot, breathe very slow. Also, you need to count your achievements. I mean, it doesn't matter how many times you do the same stroke, or you paint the same letter, or you try the same material. For instance, talking with Walter about gilding, man, celebrate that little stroke that came out good. Be dedicated, and when you're dedicated, you're also like developing your like yourself control. Like, the point is that many times when you don't have a studio, it takes a lot of time to set your working station, and if you have to put it in and take it out every time, it's like but man, if you get dedicated to that, eventually it pays back. So it doesn't matter, practice and practice and practice as much as you can. That, I promise, it pays back. Nobody becomes into a sign writer looking on Instagram the signs of other painters. Keep that in mind. I mean, I passed through that many times. I was like, oh, this people is so good. Oh, wow, this people is amazing. And then I was there watching a screen instead of having the brush in my hand and the pencil doing my own job. So I will say that painting and drawing is what it matters. The path is long. It's very, very long for all of us. So be patient and be very kind with yourself. And then for the roadmap of self-learning, there are tons of books, of course, and there are events. There are like presential events Unfortunately, after lockdown, there are less and less. But the one I could mention is the Head Letters. Head Letters is an event that happens international every time in a different place, and it's an event that is have been happening for, I don't know, more than 20, 30 years, for many, many years. The goal of this event is for people to gather together, to share techniques. They have usually like an area for newbies, and the newbies kind of learn certain things. And they have a jam panel where like other sign writers just take their own sign and they are just painting. And at the end of the event, they simply do an auction. That for me was crazy, but actually it's really, really beautiful to be able to buy a sign from a really good sign writing that you admire. So that's really cool. But yeah, for that, you need to have the availability of traveling. You need to have the investment of everything, money, paying the tickets of the event, the tickets of your flight, your hostel or your hotel, transport, food. So it's kind of a good investment. If anyone wants get the chance to do it, I totally recommend it because it's beautiful. You get to have a feeling of the sign writing community, which is a beautiful community. You never feel afraid of asking questions, of asking for help, reaching out someone on Instagram. Man, just do it, because so far, if you don't knock the door, the other people don't know what you're needing. So do it. That's my best advice. That's actually what I usually do. And doing this have led me to talk with Dave Smith, with Brilliant Ash, with Ash from Brilliant Signs. I mean, and actually I have created friendship with them. And it's really pretty to know that you count with the support of such big sign writers. And they're amazing people. So yeah, do it. There are sometimes little events. There is one, I don't remember the name, that is for the girls. This year was the second time. The birds of, I don't remember the name, but yeah, it's mainly for girls. The first one was in Scotland last year, and this year it was in Copenhagen. Not sure when it's going to happen the next one. Joey Carter used to do events, but the last one was at the beginning of this year, and he sold his STEAM fair, so I think that he's not having any more. And the other part is learning online. For online, there are different people that have been teaching around, like Leanne from Australia. Joey Carter also had some courses. Great interview with Ash. Thank you very much. And yeah, so I have developed 2 courses. The first one is the fundamentals of brush control, and the second one is casual. After realizing that all my path and how complicated it is to get into this craft, I say, I think that I can teach this. And because I have done so many workshops, I say, yes, I think that I have a formula that works out. So today I am launching the first course, which is the fundamentals of brush control. This course is for beginners. In this course, what we're going to do, or what you are going to do, is that you're going to learn the basics of brush control and to develop your muscle memory. So you will be painting with a brush, but also using your pencil a lot. And it is a course in which within 16 lessons, you are going to learn all about muscle memory, all about the body postures, the paint consistency, all the basic strokes, and a lot of information that I wanted to have so well explained at the beginning. So as I say, there are 16 videos. There are like high qualified videos, high quality videos. And they are full of tips and tricks, and as well they have like step-by-step instructions for how to paint every stroke and like when you have to flick the brush, which direction, and all this. You're going to receive also a workbook. It's printable. It has around more than 28 pages, and it has like many of the basic strokes templates for you to practice over. And the course is on an online platform where you're going to have access immediately to it. And you can do the course on your own pace. You can watch the videos as much time as you wanted, and you have access to the platform for a year. What else do I have to say about it? Yeah, the course is available to buy right now. So we activate the button as soon as we started this video. For the people that is here, I want to give a discount code, and it's the 10% of discount for purchasing the course. And the course on the website appears with dollars price. So it costs $90, and the discount code is lounge in capitals and the number 10. Yeah, this discount is going to be available for 2 days, starting from now. And for buying the course, the only thing you need to do is to go to my website, click on the online courses, Fundamentals of Brush Control, and press purchase. That's it. I do not know, guys. Let me know if you have any questions, if you would like to know anything else about me, about the course, about anything. Or if we are ready to close it. If yes, I did it perfectly. 29 seconds, 29 minutes, 26 seconds. Of course, the discount is lounge, LAUNCH 10. I'm going to write it down in the chat. Sorry. Lounge 10. And remember, it's available for 2 days starting from today. Yeah. Well, guys, I don't have anything else to say, just more than tons of thank you. You have made my day. So, yeah, I wish you all the best. And I hope that this live helped to answer some of your questions, that give you some highlights or some like guidance of how to proceed and what to do. And yeah, you know, if you have any question, you know where to reach me. My social media is Joa Muni. You are the best. Thanks. I write down here my social media. So if you have questions or anything, let me know. And yeah, if you want to purchase the course, take the advantage to buy it with the discount. Not saying more. Thank you very much, and I wish you a lovely day. Take care. Bye-bye.